Marvel's Avengers. Does it have what it takes to sell millions upon millions of copies this Black Friday? Or whatever Black Friday is this year? Is the game going to see a resurgence of players? And even if it does, how many can it possibly bring in? Considering that a giant 96% drop has happened over on the PC. So when it comes to the entire games as a service business model, when it comes to being able to sustain that environment, to be able to sustain more content, to be able to pay the developers to continue working on things, you have to look at the active player base. This is what drives games as a service, MMOs, that type of business model. If you look at the most successful MMOs of all time, World of Warcraft, the Final Fantasy games, EverQuest, you see a pretty lively player base that is still very active. And if you look at some of the other MMOs, Warhammer, Age of Conan, they're either dead or struggling. So the player base keeps the game alive. Nobody is going to argue against that. Now, we've talked about the fact that Marvel's Avengers has already seen quite a bit of a criticism tossed against it. Not that the game is bad, but that the game doesn't exactly live up to what everybody expects the Avengers name to be able to live up to, especially if you're being compared to the likes of Marvel's Spider-Man in the video game realm that is being put out by Marvel, and the Avengers movies, which carry the Avengers name. You're not falling on either end of quality, you're falling somewhere in the middle in regards to both. So recent stats that have been made available in regards to the player base for Marvel's Avengers on PC is seeing barely any people playing it. A complete 96% drop has happened since the game's launch week over on PC. Now that is on PC and we don't know how the console has been impacted, but many people have looked at multiple player bases on active players that are still earning trophies or talking about what they're doing online, and that player base is estimated to have dropped about 75 to 78%, meaning that another substantial drop of players has not gone back to the game after its first couple of weeks. You combine this with the fact that there are recent reports of Square Enix looking at this project as a failure that's lost a bunch of money, it's really not good. Now, it's not all bad. You can always turn it around. The last Final Fantasy MMO, that one turned it around. They literally took the game off, rebuilt it and relaunched it, and now it's one of the best MMOs of all time. So it's possible. Anthem is attempting it. Destiny 1 took a while to get to where it was by the end of its life cycle. Destiny 2 took all that and really refined it. Same thing with The Division. So it is possible to do it with games as a service and MMOs, but who knows if Square is that dedicated to this game. And this does now bring us back to Black Friday and the next 2 months for Christmas. Is this game going to sell enough new copies to see a resurgence of players? The answer is yes. But how many? Who's going to be buying it? Are they going to stick around, right? Is the game going to be able to fix itself up to be able to offer something to new players that are coming in? Are the same glitches still going to be there? Am I going to be able to finish some of the levels that were glitching out on me? I mean, that's all questions that still haven't been addressed, and the game's been out for 2+ months. So, very problematic. It'll be interesting to see how this game is doing early next year and what the future holds for it. Hopefully the new characters and DLCs that will be free can turn this around and introduce some new elements, but it will be tough. I mean, I'm going to go back as soon as the damn PS5 patch is out. I mean, I installed the PS4 version on my PS5. The load times are slightly better, but it's still taking me about 3 minutes from the boot up of the console to actually get to play as Captain America. That's still not acceptable. It needs to be quicker. And what's worse is I get in, and I can only do the same things I've been doing for the last 2 months. So I don't want to do that.